You're right.
It's still fun.
I feel like I'd figure it out. Why did you want to be an RTF major?
So I didn't.
Which you learned that
It was really funny, and there was a rainbow, and some lady was like, "Look at the rainbow," and just ruined our footage. And also, her cake got dropped that day too.
That's tough.
That's got to be an omen.
It's not good. I did the graphics
You did
for it.
the Roman.
It's not good.
No, we should upgrade it, but I don't know what to upgrade it with. We can come back to that.
We can.
Welcome back to the Jordan Whitrock Show. I'm your host, Jordan Whitrock, and today we have a very special guest, someone that's actually worked on this show before, but you haven't gotten to see their face. And we've worked on a couple projects together through school, and so I'm excited to finally have her on the show so that we can talk about, life and all that good stuff. So, without further ado, let's welcome to the show, Veda Kistenmacher.
Nope.
No! Kistenmacher.
Yes, you got it.
All right.
You got it the very first time.
I know.
And
I
then
just get in
from
my
there,
head.
yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
Thanks for coming. I look forward to this episode because I feel like I know nothing about you besides that, we did stuff in school together and outside of school together. And so let's maybe dive into that a little bit. Why did you want to be an RTF major?
So I didn't. And then I'm
okay.
So I was going to be an art major because I spent my whole childhood just drawing.
What were you drawing?
Everything. I was obsessed with cats in elementary school. So I draw cat comics. And then I don't know, draw whatever. I could send you some drawings. You can throw them up. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
okay, so you were big into drawing.
yeah.
And then
And I was good at all the arts, basically.
Okay.
I didn't need to take classes because I'm like, oh, I already have the skills.
Yeah, I bet the art teacher appreciated that when they were probably trying to get numbers up and they're
Yeah,
like,
no, they
you'd be the
appreciate it.
perfect candidate for this class.
You
Be
get
like, I'm
straight
good.
A's.
Yeah, that too. Okay, so then you decide to go.
So I was at UW Fox.
Oh.
Getting my
okay.
2-year, all the
Yup.
generals out of the way. Then
Where are you from?
I'm from Appleton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to.
Yes, okay. I thought you said Fond du Lac. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
No.
But Fox makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. We're
Yeah,
there.
UW Fox. And then I did all of the art classes there. Then COVID hit, and I couldn't finish one painting. I'm like, this is frustrating. So I was looking at other majors just for fun.
Wait, when you said you couldn't finish the painting,
Because they closed down the schools,
and that was enough for you to be like, I don't want to do that, or
no, it was
how do you
enough
get to
for
that
me
conclusion?
to give me a pause, and then
is this what I want to do?
given the COVID climate and everything's shut down, it just made me think for a second.
Okay.
So that was good. And I looked at RTF because I was like, I could diversify my skills.
Did you know anyone in RTF?
Nope.
So how did you find it?
I looked at majors that were offered and scrolled through.
Were you thinking of already going to Oshkosh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then you would have, then you would have saw that. Was there another degree that you would have possibly done instead of RTF? Were you like, oh, maybe journalism would be fun instead, or no?
Pretty much it was RTF or nothing.
Oh, okay.
Or it was between art and RTF, but obviously I chose RTF.
All right. We know you chose RTF because we're here today.
Yeah.
So say you didn't choose RTF and you decided to go with art. What was your plan? Post-graduation kind of? Or would you have gone to a school or tried to get into a school or?
If I was going to stick with art, I probably would have gotten maybe a couple semesters in because I didn't want to be an art teacher. That was the only viable career.
Yeah.
I would probably have moved to a bigger city and gone to a more reputable art school.
Did you look at any of those schools?
No.
No.
Because by that point I was in RTF.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Art is something.
Because it's
foreign.
fun.
It's so foreign to me.
Yeah.
I suck at drawing. So first off, you'll never find me drawing something. Growing up as a kid, I would it'd always be like, hey, let's all draw pictures, and maybe I'd draw a stick figure guy and I'd walk away.
Yeah.
That was always I was the minimalist.
If you give me some paper and a pencil right now.
Yeah, for Easter we do it's a tradition that my great grandma started that my mom picked back up, and it's you get a big cookie egg. And you have all the frosting colors, and you design a cookie, and then that's the cookie that goes in your Easter basket and whatnot.
Yeah.
And literally from like when I can remember, it was always like, this is two different colors mixed together. This is a rainbow. And then I go back to the glob of whatever that was. Like just recently I finally was like, you know what, maybe in all these pictures or family videos I should maybe have like something that resembles maybe what I'm doing right now, so that I can look back and be like, oh, that's when I did this, or that's when I did, But okay, so you decided to go RTF, and were you already living? Like, did you move out of your parents' house kind of thing, or?
So I moved in with my now ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Out of convenience.
Yeah.
So that was fine, and then we were just doing that for a bit, and I was going to and from school from Appleton commuting. It sucked.
Got you.
If you remember the radio, WRST, you had to do radio shifts.
120.
Yeah, I remember commuting after that and getting home.
What year did you start RTF?
2020, and then I took a semester off and then started going part time.
Were you part time the whole time?
After my break, yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense because I felt like I never, like, saw you around ever until the 2023, and then obviously 2024 when we like done stuff together.
Right.
But okay, Alex is also in studio. What's up, Alex?
Nothing much.
Alex, when was the first time that you remember seeing Veda in school?
I know, I'm elusive.
It had to have been my second semester there.
Which would have been what year?
2023, spring of 2023.
So you would have, how would I have not have? When did you take 120 would have been 2020. You would have took 120.
Yeah.
So would that been during COVID?
Yeah. So I came back after they lifted all the...
Wait, fall of 2020. Okay, so you would have been a year ahead of me.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
But then since I went part-time, I graduated at the same time.
Yeah, because I was fall of 2020. So I would have done 120 in fall of 2020 when they would have already figured out, like, which honestly, let's be real here. How long were your shifts? 2 hours? Did you get stuck with the 2 hour shift or something?
I don't remember. It was probably just like an hour, 45 minutes or something.
Yeah, because our shifts were an hour because of COVID. So you couldn't be in the same space for like an hour, or whatever that school rule was because of COVID and all that kind of stuff.
I did mine before, yeah.
So we got lucky because our shifts were only an hour. So we got in there, waited for the clock to go one time, and then we were out. Whereas like now I hear kids be like, yo, my shift starts at like 9 p.m. and I'm there for 2 hours. I'm like, dang, that sucks. Or like it'll be like after rehearsal imagine. And I'm like,
that's
bro,
so
I died.
Boring.
But I mean, I feel like those later shifts though, you could, not that you'd get away with more because they obviously are listening.
Yeah.
But like you could have more fun. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I wish I did have more fun with it.
I have my notebook that has all of everything I said. Because I was the person that wrote down what I was going to say. Because you weren't going to catch me trying to free ball like, this is whatever, Quella DeVille by whatever. Because I had the jazz hour, you know? And I was the first one in the hour too. So I had to figure out how to like switch it over.
Yeah.
Which was a nightmare. There was a couple times I switched it over. Like, it was right, but it was wrong. If that makes sense. So like it technically worked, but then it was like throwing off other stuff. Yeah. And I remember the professor came in and was like, he's like, here, slide over, and he's like, there, you're good. And I was like, I don't even know what you did.
He went,
teach me, and he's like, don't even worry about it. I was like, all right, no, I'm just kidding. But radio was a fever dream. I'm not even gonna lie.
Dude, that's why I switched to the TV side.
I mean, honestly, it's set up right. Like, you would want to do that your first semester. It's the it's the low whatever
least complicated, like easiest for the youngest students to
And then it gets more challenging, I would say, like but then you kind of figure out if that's what you want to stay with or not, and whatnot. Alex, what did you do did you take an hour or did you do like the sports or something?
No, I was 2 hours. I was not sports, but I had the 2 hours.
Because I remember there was people that were like, you could either take like a sports, so you'd have to like do research on the teams, and I'm like, no way. I'd rather waste my time to sit here. Actually, I probably did a little bit of homework, because you'd get like 6-7 minutes, but depending on the songs in between. Yeah. For me, at least, I'd always go. I'd always make sure I introduced the song or like followed up with the song. So the most you'd have would be like, it'd be like me talking, then 2 songs, then me talking about the last song, and then the coming up song. But I remember saying like talk about like weather, obviously, and like sports teams, and trying to be like funny and.
You know what? My grandma was like, "I'm gonna tune in," because she knew when my shift was.
Yeah,
so my mom and my grandma would tune in, and then they would geek about it with me and like, "It's not that cool, guys. I'm just on the radio. Leave me alone."
I'm in the wave frequencies. Okay. So then you decide radio's not for you, and you're like, let me check out what this TV stuff is, or we made a really bad decision stopping art to do this. And what did you come up with within TV and film?
My first impressions were it's more exciting. It's more technical, and it was more to learn, because with art, like, it just doesn't feel like super stimulating long term. And I felt like career-wise it was better because there's more technical skills. Like, you can make a podcast like this.
Yep.
So I wanted to have that skill to maybe mix with my art skills down the line if I really wanted to.
Okay.
So I thought that was a fun idea. But my first impressions of the department was immediately really welcoming.
Yeah.
The professors were all amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really get in touch with a lot of fellow students until
2023 by chance?
2023. Because that was just when I moved to Oshkosh, so I had more time to,
Well, so I commuted my first 2 years too, so it was and I guess the thing I got lucky with was because I was in shows, I'd have to stay till 10 whatever, so I'd just be kind of hanging around or like trying to figure out stuff to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get involved in RTF until my kind of late juniors. My
for me.
senior year, and then I had my super senior semester or whatever.
Yeah,
I was there for 1 semester. Like that 3 semesters was kind of the only times I really did RTF stuff, which I'm so thankful for, because that's what got me to see like, oh, okay, like it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be this.
Yep.
You can still grow, like, which I think is good because you're just so used to seeing professional stuff 24/7. You're like, well, how do I get it to look like that? And it's like, well, you don't have the capital or the manpower to do it, so just do what you can do.
The RTF budget is 0, and you got to work with used equipment, and yeah.
Dude, you know one thing that eats up at me still to this day?
That we didn't get you a throne for Honeydew?
No. Wait, what? What?
So Becca and I were going to get you a whole real throne.
Oh, a throne. I thought you meant throne from Honeydew. Like,
oh, yeah, we were going
to... Gone. Okay.
Our
if you guys didn't know, Veda was also an executive producer. Was it you and Becca? Yep. So what was we could talk quickly, just like what was your side of like what was your to-do list like?
I did a lot of ideation.
Okay.
I came up with the first episode like concept.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Titans get fruity.
Yep.
It's fun. Fruit golf.
Yep.
Fruit
bowling almost.
Marble run. Fruit bowling. That's what it turned into. What was the last one? What?
No, I'm getting the other one mixed
up.
Fruit
golf. Or was it just 2 things?
It might have been just 2 things. You had a third one, but I don't think you used that footage because it wasn't usable.
Oh.
Or something like that, right?
Yeah. No, that was the orange section.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the audio just got totally demolished. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which you learned that
it was really funny, and there was a rainbow, and some lady was like, "Look at the rainbow," and just ruined our footage because she was screaming like, "Students, look at this rainbow," and we were all like, "Lady, we are recording." So
I thought you meant it was like a technical error. You just mean there's this one lady who
she was the technical error.
She was the error. Look at this rainbow, yeah. Bro. Was it at least like close to like so you could find the honey or not the honey, the money?
The honey money? The honey money?
Yo, I love life right now.
The honeydew money? What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? Chicken Little right there for you, for those who didn't know. Okay. So Honeydew, you just basically came up with a lot of the like...
The tasks.
And did you design most of the set too for that? Or no?
The set and the graphics.
Yeah, okay. Which is, like, that'd be like my least favorite. Like, look at this logo. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. A white dot.
Look at that.
In my name. Bro, I'm not over here trying to create some crazy stuff.
I could help you out with that. That right there?
Yeah.
That's fine. You don't need to upgrade it.
No, we should upgrade it. But I don't know what to upgrade it with. We can come back to that. All right. Okay, so Honeydew, that happens. But that's in That's in fall of 24.
Yes, so, my last semester.
So what? The time that maybe people start seeing you around that 2023 or fall of probably 23 or 24.
23, 20.
Was it 23 to 24 or was it 22? To
I graduated in 24 of fall 2024.
So
and then I was station manager
from
spring 2023 and fall fall 2023 24 23. Yeah. Fall 23, spring 24, graduated December 24.
Yeah. Okay, so you were station manager. Mm-hmm. What was that like? That was something that I always looked at. I was like, no way you're catching
Let me start
ever even
from
close to that.
The beginning.
Okay.
So you know Austin Keller?
Yep.
He reached out to me in live production. So this is the first time Justine was teaching live production.
Oh,
we were
the second class.
Guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
It sounds like it. Actually, I heard that it was like good, but like, did she make it too hard or was?
It was hard for the students that didn't pay attention.
Yeah, that I was trying to remember what she was saying. Like, it was hard, but
if you didn't put an effort, it was just like studio. Yeah. If you don't put an effort, what are you gonna get out of it? That's
why I quit studio. I literally sat in there for like 2 classes, and I was like, bro,
you weren't built for studio.
I'm like, everything that I've got going on right now, like.
Well, you got your acting stuff, yeah.
But then also it was like I was doing like TV practicum and other stuff too, and I was like, this is not happening. And, well, actually, I originally was taking it because I thought I needed more. Like, I thought I needed another RTF credit. Mm-hmm. I don't know where our calculations got off, but then I was like, why the heck am I doing? And I talked to like other professors, and they're like, you should do it. Like, this is gonna be good for you. And I sat in that class. I was like, there is no way that I'm gonna be. And then my last semester was really good because I chose not to do it. So I can't complain. Okay. Anyway, so you are in live production, and he comes up to you.
Yep. And he says, like, do you want to be programming director? And I'm like, all right, I'll take a paid job to work at the student TV station. Why not? Heather was station manager at the time. Heather Hagedorn.
That's right. Yeah. See, that's like, I wasn't doing RTF stuff really that year. So, like, I know those people, but never really interacted with them besides the passing in the hallway once in a while. But.
Yep. That was during the time Duck Duck Live was filming.
Yep, and I was in Duck Duck. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, what did he say? Yeah, be programming director. I said, sure. And then I interviewed, got it. Then Austin Keller went on to make his Titan Timeline show, 1 hour special. We don't talk about it.
Okay.
It's not good. I did the graphics for it.
The Roman.
It's not good. Just don't bring it up to Justine.
Okay.
Don't.
I probably will forget. I'm not gonna lie. What was it called?
It's fine. I don't remember.
You remember nothing.
It's Titan Timeline.
Okay, so you.
It's not even on the VOD. It's purposely taken off. You can't find it. I could probably.
Wait, no. I thought it was on the VOD, but it wasn't on YouTube. Was it that?
Maybe I could go into the.
Wait.
I still have the login for the system. I could go in.
Did Max Wren help with that?
Probably.
Because I think he was talking. Wasn't he talking about that, Alex? Like.
He was talking about that, but also late night with.
That's what it was. No, I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, late night with who?
I don't remember.
Late night with
What's his face? I know the really bad studio.
Yes. I think that's what he was talking about.
It was so bad. It was
so I want to see it
bad.
so
I think I was audio board.
Is it on YouTube?
No, they took it down from everywhere.
Oh, you're right. They took it down on YouTube. They just didn't. It's still on the whatever they call it.
You can't find it on the VOD. Like, it's only in the archives.
Yeah, it's in the archive. Thank you. That's
you don't want to watch it.
I want to watch
it. Kind of do. No, because I had some bad productions, and like I would want to see one to make me feel a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely like that selfishness.
It's not so bad that it's good. It's so bad that it's just you want to turn it off.
We need to watch that.
Okay.
Can you please get us a copy?
I can try.
I bet you could.
I could probably download it from the system if I still have my login, because I don't think Justine ever took me off. Cablecast. I know my login.
She would never send it to you just because.
If I asked really nicely.
You know, you could ask. I bet Beth would do it.
She doesn't have access. She doesn't have time for that, for shenanigans like that.
But Justine does?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She watches soccer on the clock. Sorry, Justine.
Yeah, that was crazy. You just tore her up. Okay. Okay, so then are you working that production or like what?
Which production?
The timeline.
Oh, yeah. I was what was I? Oh, jeez.
program director? I don't know.
No, I think it was audio board.
Oh, okay.
Or something like that, or floor director.
Okay.
I was floor director.
Yeah. And why do we not talk about it?
Because the scoring just fell apart immediately.
Ooh, okay.
And then
gotcha. That sucks as a floor director.
Yeah. Lily was the host.
Okay.
So I mean, she was convinced the score was one thing and I was keeping track and it was another thing.
Gotcha. So there's an argument.
No, there wasn't, but she just was very stern in her belief of what it was. So I just kind of gave up.
I was going to say who gave up, then there was no argument.
I was like, all right.
Yeah, I think you have to do that. Like, talent is difficult. Like, sometimes you're just like, bro, can you, like, not?
But also, the lighting was bad. It was bad. It was so bad. Oh my gosh, it was so bad.
So then, why did we bring up that production again?
Because it was so bad.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with your how you became stage manager.
No, because Austin Keller made me programming director to make this show.
Oh, so it was
he took one semester and then the other semester because you're supposed to do 1 year of programming director.
Okay, can you not do it if you're one of the head people?
If you're on staff, you can't do a show.
Oh, didn't know that. Okay, that makes sense. So you filled in the second semester or whatever that would have been so you could do a show. Okay, and now I see how that leads. Okay, so we get done with that year. You've got a couple of good and bad experiences underneath you.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Next semester, I'm talking to Justine.
Yep.
I'm like, what if I was station manager? And she's like, what if you were? So I'm like, all right, bet. And then I apply.
Okay.
And then
what's the interview process? Or like what, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does it even work?
So since I was already on the board
Yep.
and I was applying for next year,
Yep.
everybody just kind of like looked at me and like.
Yeah. But who chooses?
Justine.
So you said everybody was just Justine saying, you got this.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I wondered. Because like, is it just Justine that picks up or like interview? And that's what I'm saying. Like, what are some questions, not that you would remember, but like, what were the vibe of it? It was like, why do you want to be station manager? Probably is one.
What is your favorite cookie?
Ooh, that tells a lot. What was your favorite cookie?
At the time I said oatmeal raisin.
Ooh, wow, you almost sold your interview right there. No, I'm just kidding. Or maybe that's like, hey, even during the worst of times, she'll still get it done because it's not the greatest cookie. No, I'm just kidding.
I eat them because now? I would say what cookie I like?
Yeah.
Oh, brownies.
Okay. I mean, we'll give it to you.
Chocolate chip cookie.
Chocolate chip cookie?
It's, yeah.
Alex, what about you? What's your favorite cookie?
Well, if you cook a brownie thin enough,
it's
technically a cookie, but just crumblier.
I don't know. Chocolate chips are pretty.
Chocolate chip?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't really beat chocolate chip. It's just a classic.
Yeah, you can. M&M.
No. Chocolate chip's better.
It's the same thing, but with M&Ms.
No, it's not.
It's just way better.
See, there's melty and then there's crusty.
What?
Every time I have an M&M cookie, it just gets like dry.
You know, have you ever had one of Quick Trips?
Yeah. Those are always good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's what I'm thinking. You're right. Okay. I'm thinking Quick Trip has the best M&M cookie.
Okay, well, maybe whenever my mom makes cookies, sorry, Mom, they're not.
You know what, though? There is something to that, though. I don't know how many M&M cookies I haven't gotten that were, like, not made from a factory. That I've been, like, that's, like, one of the best cookies I've ever had in my life.
They must, like, test tube, like,
or
they
just
must
put,
know.
like,
they
Red
know.
40 or something in it.
They do.
And it's like, why not? Hey, did you see that apparently Kennedy is, like, a...
Osterman?
No, sorry. No. Robert Kennedy. The health advisor or whatever position he is. Apparently he's trying to pass like he just listed like 20 of those like really bad chemicals they put in our food that none of the rest of the world has, and he's like I think he was about to like put a bill through. Alex, can you look this up?
Sure.
I swear, like
that's maybe the one good thing that they're gonna do.
Well, you know what's funny? You know what's funny too is that my sister, she's a nurse, and we were outside chatting with my parents, and we were just talking about like crazy stuff, but then eventually got to the food, and it was just like kind of like why do we have these chemicals in it? Like, do we really need to make the food? Does the Fruit Loops really need to look that bright colored?
No.
Probably not, because the kids are still going to eat it, whether it has a bright
neon
red
green.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe we just go green and not the bright, I don't know. But,
yeah.
So we're waiting on Alex to see if he's
Yeah,
got
Alex,
the
hurry
facts.
up.
My apologies. I'm really struggling here.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, I know. But anyway, I wonder how that all will turn out. I hope it gets passed.
Hold
There's
on.
no
No.
reason we should be.
We're making progress.
They're literally saying that like
Red 40 gives people ADHD. If I'm
but also cancer is becoming more prevalent, and they're saying they're finding that it's coming from food more than
which makes a
when it wasn't.
ton of sense. Like so much food is industrially made.
It's got me thinking. You know how they say like you should only have one brat a year, and then like every other brat you have.
I don't eat any brats.
Well, yeah, me, bro. There's some years that like. Well, no, I didn't finish what I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you should only have one brat a year because if you have more, it'll take like years off your life. And there's some years like this year, actually not this year as much as like past year. Summer's just started. Let's be real here. It's not over yet, but I'll have like a million brats in a year, and it's like I'm gonna kill myself. So I wonder if I'm like starting cancer or something. And we're gonna have to add this timestamp, so when I'm really old, I'll be like, "Damn, I called it."
Called it.
I called it. All right, Alex, I tried to stall. Do we have any information?
Like, I don't know if it's like a for sure thing yet, but like,
it's not. I don't think it's he finally proposed it.
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
Because
Like,
that's
he's
what we've
like,
been waiting for. Okay, what do we got? What do we got?
What more do you want? Like,
is he proposing it to the house or?
Oh, I have no idea. Like,
it doesn't say.
I'm.
What do you read off? What you're looking at right now? He's like got the script up for the first episode of SpongeBob.
Dude, this is
like
really struggling.
The beam
like
movie.
it's just
he's
like
dang, I almost got away with it. No.
Like he doesn't like. I don't have like the actual like proposition of what he's doing. Like there's just like a bunch of things that like he's starting to promote. Like I don't think it's gone anywhere yet.
Right. Then we'll leave it. We'll leave it be. Bro, politics is kind of crazy right now. I'm not even gonna lie. We don't have to get into it, but like, because my job, I just like stand there for like 10 hours a day. I can't listen to music that like. I love music, like gotta be one of my favorite things. But like, eventually you're like, bro, they all start sounding the same.
Yep.
Then it's like I don't want to hate music, so you gotta start listening to podcasts or whatever, and it's just like, bro, it's draining. Like
you run out of stuff to listen to.
No, I've got enough podcasts that I'm like, okay, I'll take like this one will cover this 2 hours. This one will cover this hour and a half, and maybe I'll play like music for the last half hour to get me through, But yeah, no. All right, let's come back to RTF then. So you take over stage manager through the interview. You've answered the cookie question right.
Yep.
Which got you it. And now where are we?
Then I start being station manager. It's Lauren Sweetman as ops. Becca Hawbaker as programming. Okay. Josh Cavender as news director.
That was such a good crew.
It was. Cast characters for sure.
Yeah.
And who else? Who am I forgetting? Myself. Wait, what other positions are there?
That would have been
sports. Dylan Shabilsky and Andy Glassell.
Really?
Obviously.
Yep. I didn't know they did sports that early. Mm-hmm. Well, that would have been... Wait, that was 23 into 24. That would have been...
Fall 23.
And that would have been Dylan's sophomore year, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I remember seeing him I worked on Jacob's film, and I remember seeing him and think he was a freshman, and he was acting it, and I was helping with something, and so he was asking me questions like, oh, how can I be a better actor? Like, here, and I was helping him, and I was like, oh, this is really cool that this freshman is, like, taking this, like, asking, because a lot of people will be like, I'll figure it out. And it's like, all right. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to force you. But then to find out the next year, he's like, yeah, I'm a junior. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Bro, you looked like you were 12 when I met you, and now you're a junior. No, okay.
He just has that bright smile.
100%. Yeah. Okay. So, what was the most challenging thing being station manager?
So, I think it was the interpersonal stuff, because there was some drama with Film Society that I wasn't really aware of.
Do you have to deal with that? Because...
So...
How does that work? Because, like... Obviously, you have, like, the radio has their own station manager.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't really mess with radio, right?
So, Becca was also in Film Society, on the Film Society board.
Okay.
And there was some, like...
Wait, Alex, were you on this board?
Yes.
I was going to
say... Wait, I was only on it for, like, half that, though. I was only there for the fall.
Were you on it when Jacob Lefevre was on it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that was...
Would that have been the spring, though? Because I know, like, fall went reasonably well. I thought
it might have been. It was spring. It was spring.
Yes,
okay, so that was after.
And that's funny because I would have done stuff in the fall.
It was during 440.
Yes, and I didn't do anything. Yeah, because I was gonna say it seemed like to be a pretty chill group.
It was
that fall.
It was,
but okay.
Not so much the second semester.
Oh, that's because there was like the bylaws. Was that the bylaws mixed up?
Somebody wanted to make a film twice, even though they were on the board, and that was kind of against their laws.
Yeah, so it was like everyone agreed and planned on doing the film, and they were gonna have like 2 films or something like that because no one else pitched or something like that.
Yeah.
But then the bylaws said like you can only do, which makes sense. But I just don't think anyone saw that rule in it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so then it was like, oh no, we can't film this, which is frustrating. But then like, what else are we gonna film? And I think they were gonna do like a music video maybe, and then they were.
They
like,
did.
Did they do it? Because I thought they said that they were like, no, we're not gonna do it.
I've seen it like 4 times.
Really?
It's really funny.
What music song is it?
Oh, I don't remember. It's some catchy like.
Is it on YouTube?
Probably.
I gotta go fill it. We gotta go figure this out.
Text Becca, she'll send it to you.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny because I thought they weren't gonna do it because they had like, I swore they were like, oh man, we got like a week to film this.
Yep.
And just based on how everything fell down or whatever. Okay, that's funny. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was Duck Duck in the fall?
Oh shoot. Well, yes, it was.
Or was it spring?
It was in the fall.
It was in the fall. Yes, because spring I would have done the play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
Dude, so some of those years, like those back years for me, just start mixing.
They do.
And just in the sense of like, I think you just, at least those first years, you're not involved as much. At least for me, I wasn't involved. So it was like, okay, this was like the one thing we did.
Yep.
This was the one thing we did. And then by then you're like getting comfortable taking on more, doing more. And then you're like, oh, and all of a sudden it's like, was this show this? But then I also did like 3 short films. Like what semester did those fall on? You know, it's like,
yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so you had some film drama, and was there any other crazy things that happened at your time as stage manager?
Nothing's really springing to mind. It was pretty chill. Like Justine was there to manage stuff, and I was focused on getting the meetings through and just keeping up with people, and so I was just like nose to the grindstone.
It's funny because I think that's like the first time I really noticed you around RTF. Mm-hmm. Like while you're a program director, I don't even think.
I started sticking around the staff office more.
Yeah, because I just remember like and it wasn't necessarily that we talked to each other or even said hi. It was more of like you just see that person in an editing bay or like in your office or whatever that would be, or be by people that I maybe had known a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like there's so many RTF people that are like, Jordan, what's up? How's it going? Like, and I'm talking like my junior year. Because I would have had like maybe classes with them my freshman year. Yeah. And then hadn't seen them since. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, yo, what's up? And then we'd like have a conversation and I'd walk away and I'd be like, who is that?
Yeah, that happens to me so much.
Or you're just like, you feel bad because you're like, I should know this person, but nothing's coming up. Like, what?
It happens to me all the time. I feel so bad.
It's happening to me with work right now. Actually, I don't think I ever got his name. Oh, no. He did introduce his name one time on the first day, which is like when you're trying to figure out how to do your job and tasks.
Yeah, you can't remember that.
And then and you're trying to remember everyone else's name. And so and I've never heard his name be used again. That's because like everyone else's name who I've like maybe struggled with or didn't catch it first time, it's like I've heard someone else use it and it's like, okay, locked in. Say it 17 times, you got it. And now I'm getting to the awkward point where it's like, ooh, it's been so long. Like, can I really be like, yo, we've had so many great discussions. Like, what's your name again? You know what I'm saying? And I feel bad. But like
sometimes you gotta wait for somebody else to say their name.
And but no one's talking. Like no one likes to use their first names in conversations, except for when they say, "What's up, Jordan?" And I'm like, "Damn it, I already know my name." It's so real though. Hey, how long? Okay. What's the longest for you and Alex? What's the longest you've ever gone without knowing someone's name? And like, like you would say, like they would be like, "Yo, like we're pretty, like we're pretty good friends." Like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think that's ever happened to me.
Really?
Yeah. Like if I'm gonna know somebody, I better know their name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very impressed with that. Alex?
Like I don't know. Like it does happen all the time, and I just don't know.
What's your streak?
I never kept counting.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe a year and a half for me.
And
we had so many conversations.
Yeah.
And it's just like one of those things where you're like, you don't need the name because you're already beyond first name.
Yeah, you just kind of slip past it.
Yeah, you already slipped by it on accident.
Hey, it's
and
that
now
guy.
they're like, yo, what's up? And you're like, hey, how's it going? And you never have to use a name, and then it only becomes a problem when you're like trying to like describe that person to someone else.
Oh, you know a good trick? Exchange driver's licenses to like compare your photos for fun.
Oh, brilliant! That is so smart. At first, I was kind of like, why are we switching IDs? But to compare photos. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just did that recently. What did we do that with? I don't remember. But I just did it with someone because I was just explaining how I had a.
Was it at the 440 premiere?
No,
I remember.
It was.
Well, no.
It was when we watched the last news of the year.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Because we were at varsity.
Dude, I got lucky for the 440, right? Yeah, that premiere or whatever, because I was like late by like 10 minutes.
You still got there.
But I got there way early.
Yeah.
I forget why it took too long. I think I was doing something and then just
you said you were getting out of work.
Time. Yes, I had to go in and work, and then I thought it was going to take a little bit shorter than it did, and then I had to take a shower because I was full of grass, and then I was like, oh, shoot. And
what do you do again?
This is my part-time, so it's not my full-time job. It's my part-time. I like to cut grass.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to lie. I might get a little high off of it, you know what I'm saying?
The grass?
Especially when I was younger. Not the grass, but just like, you know, like when like you do that runner, you get a runner's high. Like when you're running.
Yeah, you just, yeah.
I may get that when there's something about cutting grass. I just love it. Like I remember being a kid and like probably would have been in kindergarten and we had one of those where there was no assist or anything. It was just like big, you had to push it. And I remember just being with my dad and like outside watching him cut the grass and like walking next to him while he cut the grass and be like, yo, can I push?
Can I cut the grass? That's
and
the opposite
and then
of me.
finally he was like, yes, you can. And he would let me do like maybe 1 or 2 strips.
Yep.
And then eventually I just took it over. And then it was like one of those things where it's like, I cut the grass. You see those straight lines? That was my
Keep
dad.
them up.
You see that crooked one? That was me. No, but and then it was funny because like I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but anyway, like I worked at Alliance and then whatever I didn't need to work at Alliance and I needed a different job, and somehow my dad was subbing in the schools and they just talked to the head maintenance guy or whatever, and they were talking how like they could hire like someone if they wanted to, and my dad's like, hey, my son, and then he hooked me up with the job, and I've had the job. I think this is the longest job I've ever had. I've had it for like 4 years. I think it's my 4th year doing it. And I just love it. There's something about just being on the open field,
cutting grass,
making straight lines.
Nice.
Actually, then what sucked that first year was that the head guy retired, and then he was over his hours for his retirement. You know, like when you retire, you can only work a certain amount of hours.
Sure.
Well, he was over it, so then he had to stop midsummer. So then I was the only guy cutting all the grass. Like this is the first time I ever got like learning how to use the equipment. So then I was I had like 8-hour days for like 5 days a week trying to like cut all the grass, and I'm like barely know how to do it. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. But then they rehired someone, so now I'm back to an assistant, and life's great.
Good.
Okay, not enough about me and grass cutting. The side quest, but. So you then do Honeydew, which we talked about a little bit.
I acted in a film.
Okay, what film was that?
Megan Kitzman's 440 film.
What was that one?
That was, I don't remember what it was called, but was it
the same one you did your 440?
You know Jolie Herkman?
Yep.
So that was the same year that Jolie took 440.
Oh, so this would have been way before me. I didn't even know you guys had 440 and did premieres and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I acted in it. I could send you a link. I don't like my acting.
Give us like a.
So it was about gun violence. A girl is convinced to go out, hang out with friends at a bar, and then a guy with a gun comes in, and the main character dies.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to think. Didn't she have a promotion like? Oh no, that was a depression promotion. Yeah, I was trying to think. It was something to do with like violence, like that whole idea of like, hey, take care of yourself, protect yourself, all that kind of stuff. But that was depression. I think that's what it was.
Oh yeah, she filmed that right? With
wellness,
Henry.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think. I was like, did they use that somehow into that? I was like, no.
I remember watching it, and the color correction. That's all I could think about.
Okay, wait. So because your art, does color correction really bother you?
Yeah.
Like, and are you good at editing it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, wait. Like, how many post productions did you do? Both of them, or just the first one?
Both of them.
Okay, and did you do all like the A's where you'd like do the complete and like you'd actually try?
Yep.
That's crazy, bro. I got so lucky because I remember. Well, at first I was like, well, don't be dumb. We're gonna try to get the A's because it's called, what was it called? Like scale grading. I don't know what it was called.
Spec
grading.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like you choose what grade you want. So if you have a project, if you do up to this amount, you get a B. This much is an A, and then whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the beginning being like, oh, I'm so busy. I don't want to do this. And I was like, well, I know it's going to get harder. And I'm so glad I did. Because I think that's the only reason I got like an A or A- in that class was because I did that. Because at the end, it's like impossible unless you actually understand how to edit with Avid, which I didn't know how to do. But I remember the color correction unit. I found out it was really simple. I think this is all to get an A. All you had to do was like change the color scheme. And I remember going and why is that? Are you laughing because the cat sneezed? I watched Nikita sneeze and Alex go and then just start laughing. I was like, what? Okay, long story short, the color correction. I found out where they had all like automated color stuff. And I just drugged that in and just was like, hey, it's two different looking things. And she gave me the credit for it.
Hey, I mean, you did the work.
But I did not know how to do the color wheel and all that stuff.
Hey,
I'll be honest,
I always have to look it up.
I didn't even know how to get there. And I wasn't confident in my ability to look up on the directions on how to get there, you know.
I think you got the A because you used your crafty skills of maneuvering around, actually doing the work.
I feel like I have a good skill of like how to do the bare minimum to make it work. Which is like a
everyone
good
else,
thing, but like not a good thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, when it comes to school, you kind of get trained to do that because you just
100%.
get so busy.
How do we change that? How do we change it to make kids like want to actually not try, but like you know what I'm saying? Alex, this goes for you.
Less pressure on kids, less nonsense if they don't have an interest in a subject.
Do we let them go outside more?
Yeah.
I know there's a study that says like young boys aren't meant for the classroom, just straight up. Like that young age, all they want to do is run, play with sticks, and like do dangerous stuff, learn from it, like that kind of stuff, which is like what we did when we were however many years ago. And how like now, and so it's like, and like, I don't know, this is interesting. We don't have to get into it, but there was a talk I was listening to, and they were talking about like what it means to be a man and that whole idea of like how there's almost like an ideology missing right now from like young boys to becoming men, right? And it's really obvious when there's a bunch of people that are living in their parents' like basement playing video games or whatever that is. It's like there's something that they don't have that desired, like he was talking like there's something like back then it used to be called the men's club. Like your goal as a young boy was to get into that club, to be a man, and how like you would like you would be with your mom for up to this point, and then when they're finally like, hey, now go with your dad and go hunting or something like that. Yeah. And then you'd like become a man by doing that, right?
Yeah, the rite of passage.
And that was your goals. You wanted to get your top hat, right? Or whatever you want to call it, right? And like nowadays, it's like there's not something like that. That it's not saying like boys are sissies or they're mama boys or whatever, but it's like there's no reason to leave the house now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nobody has like that development period.
And so and so it kind of sucks because now all these young boys aren't becoming not strongmen, but like, you know, like I don't know, setting their values, setting whatever that is, and I think it's just interesting how that.
Yeah, I know it is.
I don't know. I don't know how we fix that. And like you hear stories of classrooms. Like I have family who's in education, and it's like, how do you? And I think the big thing right now is the family nucleus is like very fractured right now in our society, which is not good. And I don't know how we fix that.
Crime rate is up because lots of people don't have dads.
And it's just like, and it's like it's sad because it's like, how do we fix that? And you know, I don't know how we do that. Besides being good role models, right, Alex?
Yeah.
Right.
Be a good role model for everyone around you. Lesson of the year. Dude,
speaking of role models, we have these kids that come over to our house and hang out, and they're one of them is 3, the other is 4, I believe, or it's 4 and 5. I don't.
Yeah.
It's that age group. I'm mixing it up.
Yeah.
We've had them for a couple years. That's why. And they both like. My sister and parents were talking downstairs, and they just both made their way up the stairs into my room or whatever. And I was just like cleaning up or whatever, and they were asking like questions or whatever. And I think I had like a Disney walkthrough, just like because I was in a Disney movie. I was listening to this Avatar soundtrack or whatever, and I was like, you know what? I want to do like someone who's like just basically recorded their whole time walking through a Disney park. So it kind of felt like you were there, right?
Yep.
And they walk in there like, what's that? And I explained it to them. And then I had my GoPro sitting on the table, and they're like, what's that? And I was like, it's a camera. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, there's 2 decisions. Either you like say it's a camera, it's really cool, but you can't touch it, and then you put it away, or it's like it's a GoPro. It's a camera. Do you want to like see it? You know? And I was like, you know what? It's a GoPro. It can't break. And so I gave it.
Yeah.
I gave it to them, right? And they were just memorized with like, oh my gosh, like seeing the world through a lens, and then like flipping around and seeing themselves or whatever. And then they were like, I have a fish tank in my room, and they were like holding the like camera up to see the fish in the fish tank.
Yeah, that's so cute.
And then there was one on the backside though, and she was like, hey, can you can you hold me so I can see it? And I was like, yeah. So I hold him, and I was over the railing, and all of a sudden you just hear the oh no, and then my GoPro fell the whole flight of stairs. And I was like, I set her down. She's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big
GoPro.
deal. But then deep down I was like, wow, I hope it's not broken. But I was like, it's not a big deal. I went down there. The thing's a tank.
Yeah.
No damage. Mm-hmm. And that's why GoPro sponsor me. I will literally. You make good cameras.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do short film,
mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. We get close to graduation.
Yep.
I think it was fun because doing Honeydew is kind of like how I got to meet you. And back, I feel like, you know, like that funny thing of like, I knew of you, and maybe I felt like we were closer the whole time, but we really weren't. But it was like, oh, like I've known you. I've seen you for like 3 years. And it's like, yo, I've known you and seen you for 3 years, but you knew nothing of.
And
like
then we just started talking
that's
more.
what it felt like at the start. And it's like, you're like pretending to be friends, but you're like, I don't really know this person from Adam, you know? And so I remember graduation was fun because I was the only theater person graduating in that fall. Everyone graduated either a year in front or a semester behind. So
right.
I was like, well, going with RTF, right? And I don't think and most of my RTF friends graduated the semester before. So it was like, I didn't know anyone, but then it was fun to actually like become friends with you and Becca, because it was like, okay, that's who I'm sitting next to during the.
Yep, you were sitting right next to me
at
graduation.
And so I think one thing that stood out to me, or that I remember, was we were getting ready to walk out to go through the gym and sit down, and we all looked at each other.
I almost passed out before we got into the gym.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why. I was wearing like these Doc Marten boots. I guess it was warm, dehydrated.
Did you lock your knees?
No. Because Justine told me never lock your knees, and I'm like, thanks, Justine.
Yep. Yeah, but I remember being like, so what are you doing after graduation? It was like one of those things where it's like, hey, we did it. Yeah. Like, what's your plan after?
Just what did I say? Do you remember what I said?
I think none of us knew what we were doing.
Yeah, none of us.
And that's what's funny. And so it's like Becca's got her big girl job traveling the world now.
Yep.
And I remember saying, like, I'm going to start a podcast. That's what I'm going to do.
And here we are.
And I'm going to audition for schools, and we're going to see what happens. But I was like, the podcast is going to happen. Here we are. We made it happen. And I remember you were saying that you wanted to get a job with, like, photography or whatever that would be.
Yeah.
Or being social media. I think that's what it was. It was like a social media.
That's the practical answer.
Whatever that would be.
But now I think
yes, that's what I was going to say. So post-graduation, what have you been up to? What have you been doing? It's almost been like 2/3 a year kind of vibe.
Oh, geez. Okay. So my wallet is currently crying, sobbing, in tears because I dropped $3,000 on a camera.
Okay.
It's a Sony A7.
You did say that you wanted
4.
to. Ooh. That's a nice camera.
It's full frame, mirrorless.
Okay.
And I got a Sigma full frame mirrorless compatible lens. It's an art lens. So when I got the order from B&H delivered, the lens was bigger than the camera.
Okay. So wait.
But the pictures
when did you order this,
gorgeous.
Though?
Oh, like this last week.
Okay. Wait. What have you been doing up to that point, though?
I had a Canon SL3 for a while. Okay. Yeah.
So did you work for anyone, like company-wise or anything?
I did wedding photography.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that go?
For this like pretty wacky guy. He's nice. But he's a little wacky.
Was he like over controlling with the photos or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he's like, go be creative, but I want you to get these key things, and here's how you do it. And he helped me learn a lot. I genuinely did learn a ton photography stuff from him. So very valuable experience. Yep. I remember one of his stories because he's been doing wedding photography for like forever.
Okay.
So he shows up to this one shoot, and the bride has this venue booked, and it's in a hotel sort of thing. The room her wedding's supposed to be in actually had a pigeon convention in it. scheduled for this.
Like they double booked it?
They double booked it. So the bride, so apparently she found out, and they're like, oh crap, and she like runs down the hall in her underwear, her bridal underwear.
Okay.
Just screaming her head off, I guess.
And he's in the corner like, no.
No. No. But she like rips open those doors, and she just sees all the pigeon poop and
that literally
feathers,
is like
and she just like
from a TV show.
goes
You know what I'm saying?
ballistic. And also her cake got dropped that day too.
That's tough.
That's got to be an omen.
And then I don't know if they're still married, but also her whole wedding just smelled like pigeon shit.
So so they forced all the pigeons out of it? So they kicked the convention out?
They had to. I don't know what happened, but they must
have.
have.
How do they choose?
I think it ended at a specific time, and they were able to like set it up for her, but it still smelled.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. There's another story where a DJ decided not to use a plug-in like extension cable like buffer to make sure it doesn't short the circuits. Guess what happened?
The circuit shorted?
The circuit shorted, and the whole building burned down. The entire building.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
It was a new construction, and also like that paint stuff they put on the wood to make it look nice.
Yeah.
Still kind of dry, and it was like fuming. You know, catches fire immediately. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And then there's another one where.
That's crazy. Honestly, a memorable wedding.
I didn't do any of these, but these were in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another one where an ex came in wearing a voluptuous red dress, and like calls out the groom hardcore in front of everybody at the wedding, and destroys the entire wedding, and everybody like starts having a fist fight. And yeah, the photographers just get out of there.
You don't take pictures of it?
No.
Why not?
It's legality.
Why is it legality?
Because you're not supposed to take, I don't know.
That's part of the wedding, right? You paid for me.
Yeah, they're having a great time.
You paid for me to be there for 7 hours. I'm getting all the good stuff. So that I can maybe expand my business to like MMA fighting or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could be like, yo, look at these pictures I got of this fight.
Hey.
And don't mind that it's during a wedding. But like
that's not the important part.
Imagine me I only have to focus on 2 guys fighting or 2 girls fighting in the cage.
Like, I'm good at this,
sign me up.
Yeah.
Jack be all over that. No. Okay, so you did the wedding thing. Mm-hmm. Any other projects you were kind of working on?
Not really. It was that, and I was doing like digital social media stuff for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Pretty okay, and I feel like I could do more. So
yeah.
I'm gonna turn towards more film production, more photography,
like
more
BTS
video production,
kind of stuff, or
video. Maybe like I'll start my own podcast or something. Like
Ooh,
I wanna do stuff and experiment,
yeah.
and I might as well start somewhere. So I'm just gonna go and start, and that's why it's dropped 3,000 on a camera.
Okay. So what are your plans now then, with your really expensive camera that takes your really good photos?
Mm-hmm. I'm moving to Michigan.
Okay. What? To Michigan? What's out in Michigan?
Some friends and also some
okay.
opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah. Beth Hubbard might get me in contact with some people she knows, and she actually grew up in the area.
So what area in Michigan?
It's like
Detroit, like city, or like
it's more the northern part, like the suburbs.
Yeah, I got no idea what that is.
Yeah.
I've only been to Flint, Michigan twice. The water's not bad.
Oh,
I
think that's the lead talking.
I don't know. The first time I went, I drank bottled water. Mm-hmm. No, that's a lie. I think I drank bottled water, but then also I was like, bruh, at this point.
It's probably not as bad as
like the water maybe didn't taste good, or maybe you were in your head that it didn't taste good.
Don't know.
So then I just like got tea packets. Never thought about it again. Mm-hmm. And then second time I went, I was like, bro, I didn't die. So
you're still
didn't
here.
lose my hair.
You eat brats.
I still have my nails.
Flint water. You're fine.
I'm like, bro's a tank, and so minus all of the muscle. He's everything into a tank minus the muscle. But okay, so you're going to Michigan to. Is your hope to do like behind the scenes photos or more video? Like you want to be a cinematographer?
More video. It would be cool to get a job with like a more independent production company.
Got you.
So whether that's
I didn't know you were big. So how does that? Were you always film?
Yeah, film, video.
Over TV though?
I would do TV, but I just don't really like the hours.
But your whole time your whole time RTF was you're like, I like film.
Yeah.
I never knew that about you.
I should have done Film Society.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like for me, my argument is first off, I was doing acting, like stage theater, but then also I like up to my like last equivalent to a year.
Yeah.
I was full blown. I'm doing TV. Like I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll be an anchor for some like
for news,
like in Montana to be the smallest market.
Sure.
You know, something like that. I'd be like, I'll go do that for news. Like, you know, but then I was like, then I was doing TV and I was like, oh, this would suck. And also you have to say so many names that like
it blows.
Like we already saw how this episode started. Like names are not my forte. You know.
It'd be cool to get a job at CBS.
What would you do then?
I don't know. Whatever they want me to. They just got good benefits.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Would you ever work for like a Walmart? Like
maybe
like a brand promotional, something like that?
If they only have me do video and I don't have to deal with any corporate stuff. But I doubt that would
What would be your top franchise store, whatever, like restaurant that you'd want to work with?
Well, that's a great question. You know, if Toys R Us was still a thing.
Yeah.
That'd be cute. Honestly, I really like Becca's job, but I wouldn't want to be like doing 12-hour days with a 5-minute potty break. Like that sucks.
I also that's what I think I have to get over. I'm a homebody in the sense of like I like being close to home, you know. I'm obviously
gotta take the leap.
Over that. But like that's the thing is I'm gonna have to take the leap at some point and just like be like, you know what? I'm hoping for this legislature to like pass to give us good film benefits here in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
so
I heard about that.
But like, I don't know if it's gonna be enough to bring Hollywood here. And again, I don't know if we want Hollywood in Wisconsin. You know, it seems pretty crazy in LA. So
yeah.
But okay, you said Toys R Us. That reminded me. So like when I was a kid, we didn't really have technology, and I remember this would have been maybe when we were, I don't know. My parents got me. We'd always like my parents once in a while would get me like a remote control helicopter, right?
Yeah.
And those were really fun. Well, they got me one for my birthday, and that year I just wanted a tablet because I wanted to play Clash of Clans for the life of me. Yep. All my friends were playing Clash of Clans, and I'm like, bro, let me play Clash of Clans, damn it, you know. And I think my sisters probably had like a tablet or something like that, you know. And it wasn't like a good, but I was like, I just want. It could be one that lasts 20 minutes of battery, and then I gotta plug it in. Like I just want something, you know. And they got me a helicopter, and it was like a really nice, like one of the nicer helicopters I've gotten. And I remember being like, dude, like it's a cool toy, and I like it, but like this, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna use it like I would use a tablet.
Right.
So I remember, I don't know if I've told anyone this, but I remember, like after I opened it, I was like, I flew it, and I think like I must have messed with it, and it like didn't fly exactly where I wanted, and I was like, huh. And I think it was like something you could fix the torque to like make it so it would fly straight when you went forward. And I was like, if I don't fix it and I just keep flying it really badly, I could just tell my parents it's broken and it doesn't really work. Yeah. It's a bad quality helicopter.
Right.
Which means we can go back to the store, return that, and get a tablet or something.
Did this plan work?
It somehow worked. I'm not even going to lie. I remember being like, yo, the helicopter doesn't work or whatever. And then like. Do
your parents know this story?
I don't know. Probably not. Why would I tell them? I'm trying to get a tablet, you know?
Yeah.
But, so I remember we went back and they'd be like, well, what do you want? And I was like, well, a helicopter costs this much. Like, this really, really bad tablet that's really cheap costs kind of less than it. So, like, you know what I'm saying? It could fair trade. And I remember walking out of that store being like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
Like, you know. The sad thing is I didn't even know YouTube existed or anything like that. So, like, I literally just played Clash of Clans probably with
It's probably for the best.
Actually, I don't even know I don't know. That was a crazy time to be alive, though. I remember.
You did miss a lot.
I did miss a lot. Dude, I remember I discovered Mr. Beast, like, senior year of high school.
Really?
Yes. I remember being like, yo, what is this guy? Like, this guy's cooking. Like, I remember he was at, like, maybe 30 million subscribers. And I remember being like, yo, this guy's got, like, this is kind of fun. Like, this is when he was doing all the challenges either with himself or, like, with his friends, like, this, like, the hide and seek or whatever, like, in the backyard vibes instead of, like, in the $1 Million Hotel or whatever that is, you know, or the stadium. But I remember being like, I just rewatching all of his videos on repeat, like, and being like, yo, that's so cool.
Is that what got you into RTF maybe?
No. Okay, what got me into RTF was when I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Or I guess before graduation, I had no idea going into my senior year. There was talks of me possibly doing like education, like teaching, and after like lifeguarding and doing other stuff, and obviously just having education in the family, I was like, I just the young students isn't like I don't want to do that. You know, like there's just something telling me that you're not gonna have the fun that you might think, and
you gotta follow your gut.
It's not worth the 3 summers or the 3 months in summer that you get off. It's not worth it, you know. And I remember my dad being like, well, like you get like. I know you like acting, but like if you do teaching, you'll have your summers off to do whatever you want to do, so you could do that kind of stuff, you know. And I'm like, yeah, but like that's like the difference between like trying to do it as a job and then doing like community theater, which isn't a problem, but it's like that's not going to get you in front of an agent or whatever that would be to try to make it a career, right? And I remember my dad was really pushing like, and he grew up in the family of like get a job, get benefits, but his version of it was like working like correctional or something, like not a good job from that standpoint, you know.
Sure.
And so his perspective was like, or he was told when he was younger, like you're not gonna be in the military like his dad, and you're just not, you're not gonna be in the military for him because he was a correction officer. He's like, you're not gonna be in the military or a police officer / firefighter. Maybe I could have convinced him to be a firefighter kind of thing if I wanted to, which I didn't have any interest in, But then my mom was like, hey, I was doing research, and I see that, like, Oshkosh has a radio, TV, film program. Maybe you should go tour it. And I just kind of always assumed I was going to go to Oshkosh because it was close to home. I'd at least commute and maybe figure it out on the way there. And my dad and I went there, and I think that was, like, he got to see what that program was about, all that kind of stuff. And he was like, this is something that you could do. Like, you can actually, it sounds like you can get a job when you graduate.
Yeah.
If you want, at the time, if you wanted it kind of thing. And I was like, let's do it. Let's send it, you know.
Yep.
And then I ended up doing theater stuff there, which got me into the theater. But originally I went there for our radio, TV, film, which I think is always a fun part of the story of, you know, where I'm at now. So, yeah, I don't know. So, you're leaving Michigan. When do you leave?
Sunday.
Which is crazy because you literally just started helping me with my show, which I appreciate.
Of course.
But now you're leaving.
I would say anytime, but...
Yeah. Now it might be more challenging.
Let's do it remotely.
So I'm glad we got this in there. Because I know we were talking like, oh, maybe we'll do like a Becca and Veda episode. If we would have waited, that never would have happened.
Nope, yep.
Well, maybe if we got you to come back one time. What are the odds you come back one time during the summer to go camping?
Pretty high.
Pretty high?
Yeah.
How far out do we have to schedule it?
So let me know.
Yeah. That could be fun. Alex and I've been talking to Alex.
Where would you go?
I don't know, like some really family-owned campground that's like got the pond and floaties in the middle of it.
If there's s'mores, sure.
That's like, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that would be fun to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Alex said he'd be willing to sleep one night in the tent. So, which I'm totally down to
We should do it the weekend like that we're filming the Western.
Yes, because then I'll hopefully have nothing scheduled, and Alex is gonna take off of work.
Yeah.
Can you tell him like, hey, don't schedule me this weekend, or is that not a thing, Alex?
Like, I kind of can.
You kind of can.
Kind of, yeah.
So I guess if we make it worth Alex's time for him to take off.
Extra s'mores.
Yeah.
Just for Alex.
Dude, I just want a Darty. I'm not even gonna lie. Can I want a Darty? You ever Darty?
What's that?
You've never Dartied? Oh yeah, let's go. Okay, it's just like Darty basically is just like afternoon fun, drinking, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But there's it gets named after a game you can do.
Is it lawn darts?
Yeah, so it's lawn darts. So like that's where the name comes from, and it's like
Darty's just day party.
So a Darty, a dance.
It's a dance. Dude, you ever see that? Oh, bro, I wish we had the ability to pull up a video right now. You ever seen that video where it's like those homeschool kids, and it's like prom 20 or whatever, and they're just like. It's like so funny because they're actually like decent at dancing, and you're kind of like, damn, like one of their classes their mom must have taught them was like ballroom dancing or something like that.
Yep.
But it's like they're doing like a remix song. They're dancing to a remix, and it's like it's so good. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna pull it up, but maybe I'll show you after the podcast.
Okay.
Okay. So you're going to Michigan, but you said you're gonna come back and film. What are you filming?
The Western.
Okay. Talk to us. What's the Western about?
So it's about this guy named Ranger.
That's what it was. You guys said, okay, when we were, sorry, cut you off, but this is what ties it together.
Yeah.
That was the other thing you guys said. I said I was going to do the podcast, and you guys said you were going to film Westerns during the summer.
Yep.
Continue. Here we go.
Yep. You're the Western guy. Are you going to be the Ranger Ruckus?
I don't know. Whatever you're going to want me.
All right.
It kind of depends on who else you pull. If you're like, oh, this person would be better here, I don't care.
Well, Becca's the producer. She can arrange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Whoever's wants.
Wait, so then you're director.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Director, and I have the camera and wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that. So
speaking of which, what are you doing for your audio? Have you figured that out?
Nope.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Can use these mics.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about that. I don't think it'd work because they're too omnidirectional, or not omnidirectional. They're just too directional.
Maybe.
And I don't think they'd pick up enough. Or if they picked it up, it would pick up too much background.
Maybe.
Like that would be the problem.
Well, we have time. We can figure it out.
Yeah. All right. So what's the Western about?
So it's about this guy named Ranger Ruckus.
Okay.
And his lucky, trusty steed, Lucky Peaches.
Okay.
And it's Monty Python style.
Or
with the coconuts.
Alex be my horse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Monty Python style.
Peaches.
So the film is called Midwestern Yeehaws.
Okay.
So there's like Midwestern sort of references in the film.
Okay.
And basically, Ranger Ruckus saves the day, shoots up the bad guys, saves the townspeople, and meets the old Jeb who tells him about this haunted, abandoned mine where there's riches inside.
Okay, so is this like something that you would potentially have like 3 movies, short films about?
Yeah.
Okay.
It opens up for a sequel.
Yeah. Let's go. That's what we love. We love opened up for sequels. Okay, so how did you come up with this idea of this story?
I wanted to
when
make
I read
a
it,
Western.
I was like, when I read it, I mean, yes, that makes sense to make a Western, but when I read it, I was like, bro, this is very unique. Like you haven't heard a script or watched a script like
so
this?
It all started with the name. I'm like, Midwest. I want to make a Western.
Yeah.
Midwestern Yeehaws. And that's where it started.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what was the writing process for it? Or was it like just
it was barfing on a page, and then I polished a
Tidied
turd,
up.
and then it was good.
I see you give a lot of room for actors' interpretations of stuff.
I love that, yeah.
And that's what I was going to ask. So is that your directing style or writing style? Is like you want the actors to...
Because the actor brings the life of the character.
Yeah.
Why restrain that?
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. And I think... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I find myself more in the middle of like, if that's like, I would say that's like the extreme of like, and not in a good or bad way.
Don't get me wrong. There are certainly shots where like specifically this, that.
But there's like where you're like, okay, this is what it is. If you have range, like I'm the person of you have range within this.
Yep.
But it's maybe tighter than like, hey, this is your character, like whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
You have range. These scenes we need to nail down. And then I've also seen directors where it's like, smile, don't smile, and you're like, okay, like I could try. Those ones are the toughest because as an actor, it's like it's so hard, like you were saying, to get into the character because you're trying to play off. You're told what the emotion is instead of like told how to feel the emotion.
Right.
You know, which I find interesting. Like doing all those film classes, like RTF didn't have a film professor, I think, for a little bit. There was a gap there. And so all those film classes were never taught. And so it was funny. So I think the first 440 I went to, I was like, oh, that, like, the films were like good, but it's like, there's a couple things that like were like a little minor.
Yeah.
That, like if you would have changed, it could have been better. And then going to this most recent one, after we've had like maybe 2 years of film, it's like all these students who have had these film classes up to this point.
Yep.
It's now like, oh, they know what's going on. Like these are films that like maybe you could submit to a film festival and make money or get a chance to maybe make it bigger or work with someone that professional, you know, whatever that is, where it's like, it's so cool to see how like maybe how that one professor has an impact on a community of students to like make their films. You know?
Like Beth Hubbard and Diller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because even Beth was like more editing, which like, I mean, editing tells a story in that sense. Like you can do whatever you want filming, but like someone could take this podcast and make it like scary or something, and you're like, how did they do that? And it's like, oh, that's because it's editing. Like that's the crazy thing with editing, which sucks that I don't like editing. Do you like editing?
I love editing,
bro. And now you're gonna be gone. I want to shoot a short film. Oh, I came up with another idea, a short film. Oh, I forgot it. No.
If you pick a weekend, I'll fly back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because there's one I have written. We just have to shoot it. But it's a little bit more complicated. Like it's a little bit more thicker of a short film, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another one that I had that was like quick, but I forgot what that one was. It was like a play off of like, it was like reverse of something. Like you wouldn't expect to see this perspective, but I had no idea what it was. That sucks. And it was definitely me working, and I couldn't like write it down because I was working.
Oh,
now I forgot.
Did you talk about it last time I was here?
No.
Oh, is that something else?
No, that would be a potential play,
right?
Which I haven't thought 2 cents since then. So
yeah,
which checks out.
Yeah,
you know, life gets busy,
dude. It does. And then also life just changes on you.
Yeah, like all of a sudden you are leaving Wisconsin. Did you ever think you would leave Wisconsin? Did you always want to leave Wisconsin?
I had a feeling that I wanted to leave Wisconsin. I had like this urge kind of building to leave.
Yeah.
Especially during college. And then I just finally acted on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you nervous for your next move?
Of course. But I know it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I have a support network, and I know
that's the most important thing to have, is to either know that like if it doesn't work out, you can come back.
Exactly.
Or you can fight through whatever is over there and make it work.
My portfolio, my resume is good enough. Like I could work at a news station and just work my way up from there. Like I'm not worried.
Yeah. That's not that that's my fallback, but like if stuff hits the fan or like, you know,
it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
I've also like I'm kind of nervous. Not nervous, but like obviously you think of big picture, big world stuff, and it's like, oof, there's a war. Mm-hmm. Bro, I hope I get to be on the filming crew for it, because like it's either that or I'm in the front lines with my bad knees, and we already know I'm a liability there. So no, but I think about that too. It's like I think I would find my purpose in like recording what would be going on.
Yeah.
Like, I think if something really big happened, doesn't even have to be war, but if something really, really big happened, almost like a COVID, but like longer lasting, where I kind of look at what I'm doing right now and being like, this is useless. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not really making a difference. Because
like a historian perspective?
You know what's funny? There was a podcast, and they were saying how, like, the kids, like, our generation and younger, it's now like, I need to, like, it used to be like, hey, my dad worked at this mill. I'm going to work at this mill. I'm going to have a family. I'm going to raise them. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. Like, I'm going to find my purpose here. Mm-hmm. And now, like, after so many generations, it's now become like, hey, I need to change the world. That's my purpose.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you realize, like, maybe only, like, 25 people have really changed the world.
Yep.
And it's so crazy to think that, and I know I get caught up in that. Where it's like, oh, I want to make this big impact on whatever that is, you know, and just talking about that. And that's what got me thinking about it. Because it's like, oh, I want to help the world, and it's like that's not your job. Like
it's not your job, but you can try.
Yeah, it's like it's not saying that you can't do it, but also like you're not designed to do that. No one's designed to be in that much of spotlight.
And I think the biggest proponent of that philosophy a lot of people have now is like it's the internet, because your perspective is so much wider than it's ever been in human history.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good thing or bad thing?
I think it's a good and bad thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good that comes with it, but also it puts so much stress on people.
What? Like, I talked to my parents about this, right? And like my parents, when technology was introduced and all that kind of stuff, obviously we didn't their solution was you're not going to have it. Mm-hmm. But I think about those kids, like especially now where it's like the parents that are like older still but having kids around our age are like younger than us a little bit, you know. It's even more of like those kids have had technology really their whole life.
They were
and like
born,
the full almost full technology, because not everything was out for the capabilities, and I feel like we're at a point where it's like it's just gonna get better. There's not really too many new things that's gonna happen,
right?
But they were saying how like, oh, your generation, meaning us, is gonna be able to be like, okay, our kids, like, you don't get the access to that. You don't get access. Like, we'll know how to set that up, which I think has been so challenging, because it's like right now it's what the Wild West, you know, pun not intended. It's like you could literally do anything and your parents have no idea, and it's not good. And so I wonder if it gets better when the parents start actually knowing what the internet has and how like there are resources to stop it.
Well, there's no way for them to keep up with it, and I would say the internet raised me for sure.
Yeah, I would say the walnuts raised me. The walnut trees.
The walnut trees.
Yeah, one of our houses we used to live in, we were renting it. Had like 1 million walnut trees in it. Sucked. That was the yard I learned to cut the grass in.
Yeah.
my dad built this swing set with 5 swings. There was 5 of us kids, and because there were so many walnuts, my parents would make us wear helmets when we would swing on the swings.
Just to make sure you don't get clocked out.
Because the walnuts would fall and hit you.
Yeah.
And it was like, they were mostly on like the backside of the
you never
yard
know,
or
the
whatever.
tree could be chucking them at you.
Yeah, it was like the back half of the yard that we never touched because the mosquitoes were so bad. But that's where all the walnut trees were, and our swing set was right on the edge of that. And so it was like you had to wear a helmet, like, and then eventually probably was like, I'm not wearing a helmet. It was like, okay, at least the younger 2 have to wear a helmet kind of thing. So I must have wiggled my way out of there kind of thing. But yeah, no, that's.
Did you get hit on the head with a walnut?
I don't remember. I don't think.
If you don't remember.
I don't remember. Maybe
you did.
Maybe you took that memory away from me when I got clobbered on the head. It's so funny. Yeah, no. It'll be interesting because I think our generation will be that first true generation that like.
We grew up without the phones everywhere. We'll be the last generation to know what that's like.
I would say that we were the first generation to grow up with the phones. Not saying that like our phones were great, but like we were beyond flip phone. Millennials, flip phone. Mm-hmm. I would say our generation was like
the cusp.
Not that you had it, I didn't have it.
I didn't have it.
But it was like everyone started having those iPhones, those screens, and stuff like that. Whereas like our parents' generation, or like my Gen X, like was that 50-50. The first half of their life, like all through high school and college, didn't have it, and then all of a sudden got into the workforce. That's when all that technology was being introduced.
Yep.
Which is kind of fire. Like I wish that was like, think of all, not that there would have been crazy stuff I would have done because a lack of cameras, but it's like you think about it still. It's like, oh, is someone recording? Like,
yeah,
you gotta.
It changes the entire dynamic of being like outside.
I wish there was like, I know there's probably places, but I wish there was places that you could get rid of your phone. But then again, it's like, oh, this was a fun night. I'd want to picture it where we were. And it's like, I get that. But, like, you could just come back here the next week.
Bring a Polaroid camera.
Yeah.
Bring a disposable camera.
Do you think the issue is more video than photo?
Maybe. I mean, you could just take pictures and be fine with it. But if you want to take video, just bring a camcorder. That's what they used to do. There's technology for everything. So
get a crank.
Yeah, the crank camera. I kind of want one of those just for the memes.
Dude, but that's gonna be more than your $3,000 camera.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's like next 10-year purchase.
Yeah, when you made it big producer. Dude, I was watching this video of this guy who was on Stranger Things, and he was breaking down like how much he made and all that kind of stuff.
How much did he make?
So he was on.
Let me guess.
Yeah.
$3.
Okay, what's your guess, Alex?
For like what? Like as
far he had talking role.
Okay.
And it was like decent.
He made like maybe $300K or more.
$300K? Mm-hmm. Alex?
Just a small talking role.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never watched it. So I watched the first few episodes of Stranger Things, and then I didn't like it, so I stopped it. And then we got rid of Netflix, and I've never gotten it again, so I have no access to it. So I haven't watched beyond that, but it would have been like in season 3 or something like that.
Okay, so just one season?
Yeah, one season.
I bet he only made...
And this is money he takes home.
He takes home $40K.
40K? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think... So the number is like 30K is what he took home for 6 weeks of work.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like all of the expenses, because he broke it down. It was really cool. All the expenses that Netflix had either for him or whatever was a total of like 100 or something, I thought, or something like that. Like whether it be hotel room, food, travel, all that kind of stuff. And then like taxes take out 50% of what you make kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then you have to pay your agent 10% of what you have, kind of thing.
Jeez, so it gets whittled down.
So I think he maybe made like almost 100K, but then it gets whittled to 30 based off all that kind of stuff.
That's terrible.
Well, it's like sports athletes. Like you sign like a $500 million contract. It's like, well, no, you're really only getting $250 million, which is still insane. And I shouldn't have used that number because it makes it no different. It's kind of like say like a billionaire losing like $1 million is like, oh, that was like $1.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was so cool to see how they broke down that financial aspect to it, where it almost puts in perspective. It's like, okay, you could, I bet he auditioned his ass off, and the only way he got the role was because he had an agent, because you only could get those roles if you have agents, but it's like that's a beast.
I can't imagine that. That would suck. Oh, I'm glad I'm not an actor.
Yeah, I like that. I was thinking about this. This is my dream. If I can be an actor, cool. If I can't, whatever. My goal is to make enough money that I can, like, disappear.
Yeah. Where are you going to disappear to?
Probably somewhere with like woods.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'd go north. I'd disappear north. Like
okay.
Like I wouldn't go beach or anything like that.
Go to
like,
Upper
I'd
Michigan?
go lake or something. I don't know, something like that. I like Wisconsin, so maybe I try to find a place in Wisconsin. But like I just want to go off grid, and I'd love to like have a wife, have kids, be like off the grid, like or like maybe it don't have to be off the grid, but like be like a split second in history of like wow he was really popular and then he fell off or like he just disappeared, and it's like yeah that's what I want because I don't want anyone to care about me. You know, it's like that's I want to be in films, I want to do all that cool stuff, but I want no one to know about me. Like I don't want.
That's so strange. A lot of people just want to go all the way.
But it's like I want to do the art. Like I think that's cool. I want to be a part of history. I want to do all that. But like if I could just like do that and have no one recognize me, oh, that would be the dream. Yeah. Like I'd love to live in just a normal neighborhood and have my kids have those normal. Because like I'd be that parent that would pretend that we were poor.
Oh sure.
Like my parents. Not that we were poor, but like my parents were very like thoughtful of their money and always planning for the future. Mm-hmm. And sometimes what they would project on us was that we were like broke, we were poor, and maybe there were some points where like you know just like tight or whatever, but like we were never that desperate.
Yeah.
But like the way that my dad would like tell us and the stuff, it was like, hey, like we can't afford this, like we're not going to do this, and it was like, oh okay, like I get that, you know. And it's like then you learn like the importance of money and that like money doesn't grow on trees. Whereas like I feel like a lot of rich parents, it's like, well, you want to give your kid the world because it's like I have these things that I didn't get when I grew up, and this is going to make your life easier.
Yeah.
But there's that balance between what's too easy. But I feel like I'd be the parent that'd be like live in a house like this and be like, oh yeah, no, you're gonna bike to school because no one cares about you because no one cares about me, like that. And that's the tricky thing is like, how do you get to that point?
Biking to school is honestly awesome,
dude.
Except in winter.
Yeah, you're right. The winter does suck. Oh, I remember trying to bike in college when I lived in Oshkosh. I remember trying to bike and during like it'd be like I'd bike. It was like spring or fall or whatever, and I'd bike perfectly fine, and I'd get out and we'd get like an inch or two of snow, and I'm like, bruh, this is the dumbest thing ever. So now I'm like there was a couple times my bike just went, I'm on my side, like getting totally soaked because like I'm eating it, you know, or it's just like you're getting all this stuff flipped up on you, and you're like, bro, what?
Yeah.
But it was like, how else would you have known? I woke up, looked outside, it was sunny. Like, of course I'm taking my bike. I'm not gonna walk, you know, but then you get screwed over by the weather. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like about Wisconsin. But like wait, do you have siblings?
I have a little sister.
Okay.
She's 15.
Do you have can you tell there's a difference between like the way that she's raised compared to you?
Honestly, it's pretty much the same, but she's spoiled more because
yeah. This is what I was gonna get to.
Yeah. It's so unfair.
Okay, yeah. Get into it. Let's get into it. Dude. Why is it unfair?
So she was born when I was like 9, turning 10.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I guess all the resources just went to the new the new child. Gotcha. And I was just like, go figure it out. Go figure out your problems. And I'm like, okay, I'll just wear these breaking down boots and walk to school and wonder why my feet are cold all day and then get sick all the time.
That's tough.
Yeah. So I think my parents just didn't think twice about, you know.
Well, it's like you're the older one. You'll figure it out.
That's not fair. Like I'm still fair, a kid.
Yeah, no. But if you were gonna protect, like for me, if I'm gonna protect one of my siblings, I'm gonna protect the younger sibling because it's like, sorry, Rachel and Caitlin, but you've lived a longer life. Like that's how I've always seen it as. It's like, I'm gonna protect the people that have not lived as long, so they have a better, longer life. But not saying that it's right, but I
feel like I have a lot of good advice to give my little sister.
Yeah.
And she's always really appreciative of it too. Yeah. Like I convinced her to start a club, and she's a real shy kid. Or at least she would have. She would have been.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember. Well, my sister didn't get her driver's license. Like my oldest sister didn't get her driver's license because she didn't want to. Which hopefully I'll get her on the podcast. We can dive into that. But then like my sister who's above me, Caitlin, who's on the podcast, she was like, I want to get my driver's license. Like which we talked about. And by her wanting her license, forced Rachel to get her license. But then what happened was because Rachel got her license, she was the older kid. So then when my parents got a car for them to share, Rachel always drove, which then like killed Caitlin or whatever. And then whatever happened or whatever. And then like my parents bought like a really old convertible because it was like a Saab that like my mom really liked when she was in college because it was all the professors drove. And it was really dirt cheap. So they like got it. So then that was the car that Caitlin drove for like a split second. Because the minivan that we had broke, and then I ended up taking that one when she got a different car, and then it was like I drove that car, and it was a convertible, so you could only drive it in the summer, fall, spring, winter. You had to either walk or Dad hopefully would pick you up, which he normally did. Normally. And then like Isaac got that car, but then like the heating went out.
Oh no!
So in the winter he was cold. So it was like how the car deteriorated or whatever. And then then my sister gets then my parents bought a new convertible, and like I got to use it before I got my car kind of thing. And then like it's just so funny, but it's like she could like do whatever she wants. Like there's less rules. It's just like that lenience of being the younger. And like I think the two is like my dad was the younger of his family, like by a lot, and so like he would have got always not bullied, but like picked on and all that stuff. So like to him, he was like, I gotta protect the youngest, and it's like okay, but we're not your family. Like we're not beating her up and stuff. Yeah. Instead, she got she would always like get Isaac in trouble and stuff.
Maybe you should have started beating her up.
Yeah, no, literally, it's like might as well make it count. No, but like there's so many things, and like obviously there's challenges of being the youngest. That means you're never gonna be the first to do anything, right? You're never going to be the first to graduate. Most likely you won't be the first to get married. You won't be the first to have a kid. Like all those things. And like that's a challenge that like is going to be tough, And also, I mean, like I guess I'm a middle kid, so I'll never be the first.
I'm the first kid, so I will never know what it's like to be the youngest.
I don't know. I think that's interesting to like those dynamics of siblings is a strange thing. Yeah. But I know I'm so jealous of like my sister sometimes of being like, you don't even know how good you got it, or like Dad just let you do that. Like that's crazy. He would never in a million years let me do that.
I was an only kid until 9. I'm like, why would you do this to me?
See, so there's 5 of us, and now we have Ivy, so there's 6 of us. But we're all 2 years apart. That's what my parents planned. They're like, well, they actually wanted kids way earlier, but they couldn't get pregnant or whatever, and then they finally had Rachel, and then was able to continue, and it was every 2 years, and like looking back, it's like that's what I would want to do. It's like
it's good spacing
because like you're not on top of each other. Like I have friends who have like my sister's a year older than me, and it's like you're like kind of on top of each other, or it's like if you had like I mean I guess if you were like same sex that'd be fun if you were both in the same sport.
Yeah,
it's like you get to play, but you don't have the competition of being like twins,
Right.
But the 2 years was nice because you got to enjoy that. But you felt like you were in your own bubble still, and in that sense, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I could not imagine your age gap.
It's 10 years.
Or like, what's my sister's age gap would be 2, 4, 6. So it's 8 years between my oldest sister and youngest sister.
I feel like I don't have the same opportunities to get to know my little sister.
And that's the thing that, like, and I mean, like, my oldest sister is like awesome, like in her ability to connect with all of it. Like that's definitely her strength is like connecting to all of us kids, whereas like maybe I'm bad at that. But that whole thing of like there's like a bunch of people connecting us,
right,
which is just fascinating. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all I have for the show. Do you have anything you wanted to say? Any other things that we got to plug before you leave us forever?
Keep it real.
Keep it real. Okay. Alex? What's a good question for Veda?
Yeah. What's a good question?
That leaves the people thinking.
Go to the gym.
True. We never talked about your weightlifting.
I just started like a month ago.
What are you lifting? What are your stretches?
I'm doing upper body.
Some buys.
So I'm gonna push,
tries.
pull, and legs.
Okay.
Get those lats.
Yeah. Are you going to like a gym, or do you have weights in your? Okay.
I go to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm starting with Planet Fitness, but I plan to go to a better gym soon.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just lazy because like I have enough equipment here that I could figure it out. But that podcast. Oh, that's I think I was gonna say is that podcast or whatever. It was like, hey, why do you need to look good right now? Or like the whole idea is working out is to obviously look better. And it's like, or like feel better. And it's like, why are you doing that? It's like, do you need the abs or whatever? And it's like, he's like, cause like when you do that, you take away from this. And is this what's going to get you to what you really want to do? And it's like, maybe at this time you're not worried about your body. And it's like, hey, maybe when you're trying to find your significant other, you might want to focus on your body and then drop some of this stuff, and I'm like, yeah. Like right now, I'm not really acting in anything that's too serious that I need to like get a body transformation.
Right.
I'm like, I need to focus on all this stuff and not worry about the working out stuff. But might not be the right advice. But I liked it. Maybe I did the extreme version of what he was saying. But
you live and you learn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Alex, do you have any questions?
I can't come up with anything.
If you were one planet, what planet would you be?
I'd be Neptune.
Yeah.
It's blue.
Are your eyes blue?
They're green.
They're green.
That's the rarest color of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from like the crazy
red. No.
Yeah. Aside from like purple and.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone with other than like green, blue, green mix, and brown.
Yeah.
I don't think I've really seen anyone else with those colors.
Yeah.
I don't know percent. Alex, what's the percentage of someone having like a random colored eye? Beyond
so like
blue and
brown is 45%.
Okay.
Blue is 25%.
Blue is more than I thought.
And green's like 15 or less than that.
Hazel's 18. Green is 9%. And then another color not listed is 1% or less.
It's for like purple.
Dude, my brother, I've always thought I had brown eyes. My brother swears that I have hazel now.
I can't tell. It might be.
It's
like right on the edge.
But he's like, you have hazel. And I'm like, I've had brown my whole life. Like, but I'll put hazel. Yeah. I'll probably just keep brown because it's generic, you know. But yeah, sweet. All right, we'll take it to camera 2 then. Thanks everyone for watching. Veda, thanks for being on the podcast, but also helping out with all the episodes up to this point.
Yep.
It's really meant a lot to me. And hopefully we'll be able to catch up on another time. Maybe have you on another podcast. Or
Absolutely.
Short film. Oh,
I'm
maybe we do a
it.
podcast when we do the short Western film. We just
We'll do it while we're camping after we film the
100%.
Western.
Yeah. All right, sweet. Everyone, thanks for watching. If you got this far, consider dropping a like, subscribe to the channel, do all the good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye.